On my desk, if you were at my desk, I have a photo of my family. And believe it or not, I have a photo of Jane Stanford, Leland Stanford, and Leland Stanford Jr. I can only imagine the tragedy of losing a child at age 15 and a half and what impact that had on this couple. And as wealthy as they were, by owning all this land, they became very poor on that day. And their mission was to found a university to give back. And that's what I view the medical school as doing, is taking young people, giving them a wonderful education to give back. My parents were both born actually in Poland, and they both left when they were young, and they came to North America. I grew up in a household in Nicaragua, which is really very bilingual. My mom spoke mostly English to us. My father spoke only Spanish to us because he didn't know English at the time. And then from age 8 onward, we moved and lived in Miami. I think it was very rewarding to be raised in a foreign country and then to enter the United States being a bit of an outsider, because it gives you this sort of lifelong sympathy for what it's like to not be in the core, in the center, and need to work hard and get to gain acceptance by others. Neither of my parents had much education, so to them it was really very important that their kids be educated. When I was in high school, I would read the newspaper, and one of the most interesting columns was written by a nutritionist named Jean Mayer. He would speak about nutritional deficiencies and how they would manifest themselves and how they would translate into symptoms and eventually into diseases. I think that was really sort of the beginning of my interest in biochemistry and medicine.
I first met Neil when he came to the house that a number of us had lived in during medical school. Neil was a wonderful roommate. We all, during residency, spend a lot of time working in the hospital. There are a lot of stresses related to lack of sleep and pressures from trying to take care of patients. But Neil never brought that home, and he didn't bring a lot of angst with him that he might have experienced at the hospital.
When I was in college at Harvard, I decided I wanted to try something new, and I came out to California. I ended up going to medical school at UCSF. There, I just had a wonderful education, and in the second year, they had a physiology course that was called endocrine physiology, and it was fascinating to me because in the course they talked about the regulation of the body, how the endocrine system regulates the amount of hormone, and that notion that the body, without our thinking about it, regulated these hormones to bring them into just the right level was just fascinating to me, and I think it continues to be something of great interest to me, and I try to convey that same initial excitement I felt about endocrinology to Stanford students in the second year physiology course that I've been teaching.
The students routinely say that's one of the best courses they have during their preclinical years. Endocrinology is not necessarily an easy area to understand well, but Neil has the ability to take complex ideas and distill them down and make them understandable.
Neil is a very skilled communicator. He's able to engage everyone in the room. When complex issues arise, he's very good at navigating those issues and helping to reach consensus. Neil is a real leader in medical education, and he's been involved in curriculum reform and design.
And he's the person that's leading the restructuring of it currently.
Our goal in the Office of Medical Education was to revise the curriculum and to focus on 3 areas to improve it.
And we have people that have strong interest in developing medical students in a variety of ways. And sometimes those different interests can be a bit at loggerheads. But what's amazing is when you watch Neil, you see somebody who brings these very strong and very capable people together and seems to have a way to find common ground for them.
Basically, the 3 prongs of the new curriculum was a solid basic science education, a solid state-of-the-art clinical education that would begin from the beginning of medical school, and at the same time, an area of scholarly concentration so that they would be well-versed and able to become leaders in academic medicine through that learning.
When Neil moved from the Office of Medical Education to the advising office, it was a natural transition for him.
As the leader of the Academic Advising Dean's program, he approaches advising in a holistic way, so focusing not only on academics, but also career choice and wellness. He's a true advocate for students. He cares very much about their overall well-being. He goes to great lengths on a very personal level to help students.
What I enjoy most is seeing students when they first arrive, when they're full of promise and excitement about medicine, see them maintain that enthusiasm, and then see them excited about leaving, graduating, and going on into training.
When I first received admission into Stanford, I think that was probably one of the greatest days of my life. Dr. G is a role model because he's played such an important role in my life. He has seen me at some of my most difficult moments.
Medical school is rarely without some turbulence. And our job as advisors is to try to put those bumps in the road into perspective for the students. We try to make sure they know that even the students that graduate, who everyone thinks are the superstars of the School of Medicine, often hit bumps along the road.
After my second year of medical school, I took the step one for the boards. And I remember I got my school result back one day. And unfortunately, I was pretty distraught by my score. I had emailed Dr. G an email with the subject heading saying disappointed. I kind of saw my entire career crumble in front of me. Within about half an hour, I get this email back from Dr. G where he changed the subject line. Instead of saying disappointed, he said, your score is fine, semicolon, relax.
I think our students are high achievers and they feel tremendous pressure to be high achievers. And also there's the Stanford aura. They have to be at Stanford where they're so highly selected, and there's often the feeling that they're imposters, they don't belong.
And I remember that feeling actually when I was a first-year medical student, and then you look to your right and there's someone who has 4 or 5 patents under their name, and then you look at the person who's giving you a lecture and they're a Nobel laureate. And there's this feeling that's very common that amongst the students where you may feel that, hey, I don't think I really belong here. And I always felt that Dr. G kind of instilled that belief in me and others that you belong and that you can do great things if you believe in yourself. And I think that I'll always be very grateful for Dr. G for instilling that belief in me.
Each of our students belongs. We'll work with them to find the curriculum, the faculty, the projects, the field of training, that they'll come out of Stanford feeling they will make real impact in modern medicine. That's one of our goals.
It's incredibly rewarding and gratifying to work with our students when they come in and see them differentiate and make choices and graduate and go on for the rest of their career.
One of the biggest questions the medical students have is what path should I go into? What residency program should I choose? I think Dr. G does a very good job of outlining the different scenarios. So he talks a lot about your personal values, what kind of role you see medicine playing in your life. And then he also talks about aptitudes and skills. He also talks about your interaction that you want with the patient. He gives a very good framework about how to think about this big question that all medical students have is, what do I do with my life? So he's kind of like seen as the oracle that we all go to.
We want to train physicians who are at the pinnacle of scientific education, who have a wonderful scientific and medical education here. But at the same time, we have to think of them as whole people. They have to finish medical school healthy, excited about their work, wanting to go forward. And we do that in the spirit of, if they are healthy and well, they will be good doctors. They will be able to give back.
I don't think there's anybody at Stanford that's been more devoted to student education and to making the Stanford experience a really, really top-notch, meaningful experience. And he's just such a nice guy on top of that, and a wonderful human being.
The students love Neil. He's one of the favorite teachers at the medical school. He's very engaging and very genuinely concerned, interested, and involved in their education and their well-being.
He inspires me to do better, and I think that that's what you want in a mentor. He is someone I would love to be when I grow up, so to speak.
My life really, my adult life, has been as a doctor. That's what I do. My wife is a physician. My friends are mostly physicians. My everyday contacts are mostly with medical students, residents, fellows, and physicians. So I live and breathe medicine, and I think that's the way we can help guide our students, by just understanding the challenges of medicine, the rewards, and those areas where there are really significant life challenges, and helping them see the light at the end of the tunnel and how fulfilling a career this can be.